Howdy Strangers. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Talking to Strangers. It's been a while. I know it's been quite a journey the last 2.5 years since Season 1. And I've been going back and forth with myself, debating whether or not I want to take up this journey again. But I've had some things happen in my life which have compelled me to get back to podcasting. And if you are a follower of this YouTube, there's a good chance that you followed me when we were on our journey in Season 1, which came to a very abrupt end. And I want to take this first episode, before I get into guests, to give you guys a little background on what Talking to Strangers was, and kind of give you the story that has unfolded since. Now, Talking to Strangers was an idea I had during COVID. So in 2021, beginning of 2021 is when we started. And I had this idea during COVID because it was a time of great division, as you all remember. Everyone was kind of separated, isolated from friends and family. We all got grouped into these ideological boxes, arguing over what was really going on, and that's still up for debate. But the idea I had was inspired by Lucy from Charlie Brown. She had their little therapy booth, and it was out in public, and anyone could come up and pay 5 cents and get her advice. And Talking to Strangers was born from that concept of I wanted to go out into public and meet random people and just kind of show people that it was okay to talk to each other again, because we were all very isolated. It was a very scary time, as you all remember, very confusing time, and a lot of us got separated and isolated from each other, and wedges were driven between us, and we stopped talking to each other. And the idea was to kind of bridge that gap. I felt like the world needed some kind of inspiration, that it was okay to be human again. So that's what I did. I found a co-host and a friend of mine named James Lopez, and he was blowing up on TikTok at the time. And a lot of our episodes were people I connected to through James that were fans of his that wanted to talk to him. So we did a lot of Zoom, a lot of filming online, and we went to Vegas a lot because people were very open, and Vegas was open. There's no masks, and it was like freedom, this little island of freedom away from Los Angeles where I live. And so we kind of proved the concept, and the concept was just getting to know you conversations, just like you would go to a bar and strike up a random conversation with somebody. What's your story is our tagline. What's your story? Right here on the sign, on the logo, what's your story? And it worked. I felt like I was doing my life's purpose. I felt like I was doing God's work. I felt like it was a calling that I had from Spirit to inspire others through conversation and get them to awaken to how special their life is, because a lot of us just think we're just average Joes and that our life isn't important or meaningful. And I felt like we needed it mental health wise. COVID created the mental health apocalypse on top of a mental health crisis that was already bad. And I wanted to kind of make people come alive and realize how special life is a gift, sacred gift. And we proved the concept. We were growing and doing very well. And you can still find those episodes from Season 1 on Spotify. I took them down from YouTube. And for very good reason. There was a tragic incident that brought an abrupt halt, and that is why we stopped doing it. Something happened with James that I will go into in detail in coming episodes. I don't really want to get into the details right now. It was a very tragic circumstance that caused us to have to stop doing the podcast, and it was very devastating for me. It came at a time in my life where I was on cloud nine. I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do, and things were happening. And it's just this brick wall that I ran into in my life because of this circumstance, and it caused me to go into a deep depression, and I stopped taking care of myself. And this episode is really more about my story, because going forward with this concept, if I expect my guests to be vulnerable, I feel like I need to set the stage and be vulnerable myself and share with you my journey, because it has been very eye-opening and life-affirming what has happened to me in the past couple of years since we stopped the podcast. So one of the big things we were focusing on was mental health, because we felt it was prevalent. And my mental health suffered from losing the podcast severely, and I stopped taking care of myself, and I had been dealing with a health issue for years. I had gallstones, and it would act up when I ate certain foods, and I had, managed to get through it for years by eating healthy and working out. And I stopped doing those things, and it caused health problems. It caused my gallbladder problem to get so severe that the last attack I had before I had surgery, it was a 36-hour affair of to the most excruciating pain you can imagine. I just wanted to escape my skin, and I wanted to just die. It was just that bad, where it was just, I just wanted it to be over, the suffering. And normally the attacks would last 2 or 3 hours, so I kept holding out, hoping it would pass, and it never did. It just didn't pass, and for 36 hours I was just writhing in pain. My brother found me in the bathroom, just collapsed on the floor. So he took me to the emergency room, and they checked me out. I said, it's a good thing you came in, because if you had waited much longer, you would have been septic. I had a severe infection of my gallbladder, which was causing blockages in my bile ducts, and causing potential damage to my liver and my intestines. So if I hadn't gone, I would have died. And that was what got me to go. Besides the collapsing on the floors, I just had this little voice inside my head that said, if you don't go, you're gonna die. So I got it taken care of. It was ended up being a huge silver lining blessing in my life, because I was able to get insurance and do a bunch of dental work and some other stuff. I ended up tearing my ACL later, and the insurance I got through this incident with my health, this surgery, it was all taken care of. And so I had this moment when I was on the hospital bed an hour before surgery, where I took stock of my whole life. My whole life flashed before my eyes. It's not a myth. I literally went through everything, all my shortcomings, my failures, all the shitty things I did, all the things I left undone. And I told myself, and I prayed to God. I said, God, if you get me out of this, I will follow wherever you lead me. And I'd always had a connection to God in my life, but I had these periods where I just wouldn't listen to that little voice inside of us that's our mental compass, our moral compass. So obviously I got through it, and that was what I would say is the beginning of my spiritual awakening to the truth of who I am and what all this is. And I've been on this journey, spiritual journey, for a long time, and I didn't really realize it, but for the longest time I've never really fit in society. I've always kind of been this feather in the wind that kind of march the beat of my own drum and never really resonated with the 9 to 5. I've been fired from countless jobs because I don't fit that mold. I'm an artist, I'm a performer, a pro wrestler is what I chose to be my profession, which is a story in itself that you guys will hear, I'm sure, in coming episodes. But I always felt like I was meant to do something. And on this hospital bed, I saw a vision of what I was supposed to do. And I'd always had this vision, but I'd never realized it. And on this hospital bed, I said, I'm going after this vision if I get out of here. Because I didn't want to have things left undone. So I got out of the surgery, and that's what I did. I started taking my health seriously. I started taking my spirituality seriously. And I've been researching in rabbit holes my whole life. 9/11 kind of kicked me into the conspiracy world for a long time, where I feel like I've been picking up breadcrumbs along the way to try to make sense of this reality and this life. And that's just been a part of my journey. So I went through this period of healing from the surgery and really doing a lot of self-work, looking at myself and trying to become the best version of me, because I felt like I owed it to myself and I owed it to my promise to God. And it's funny, life throws you curveballs. God's got a masterful curveball. I started getting back on the track. Fastballs were coming. I was lucky enough in my journey to meet Ronda Rousey. I'm Brian Kendrick's assistant trainer at his school, and she came to us originally in 2017 to train for her first AW run. So I befriended her back then, and what kind of got me out of the funk from losing the podcast was she called me to train her for her comeback after she had her pregnancy and had her baby. So I did, and that was, things were starting to come back up after this low dip, and I felt like I was getting back into my purpose. And I had a curveball. This is going to be hard for me to share, guys. I haven't told all the details of this to really anybody. And I'm going to get vulnerable here with this story, so just bear with me. But this was a catalyzing event in my spiritual awakening, and some of you may resonate with this, and this is why I share it, because my story can help others to get through this spiritual awakening journey, which is what this episode is primarily about, which is what I have to share with the world. Is I've been through this tunnel of self-development that comes with the spiritual journey. It comes with taking on this task of healing and kind of clearing out all the old gunk, emotional wounds of the past, and patterns and behaviors and beliefs, self-limiting beliefs that have plagued me from ever finding that vision that I've always seen in my head. So this event, a lot of you might resonate with it who resonate with the twin flame journey. Now, I'm not labeling what I went through as a twin flame because I'm not entirely sure if that is what happened, but what came out of it is very similar. There's a lot of parallels between my journey and the twin flame journey. So just take it however it resonates. I had this experience that catalyzed and really put me on the fast track for self development and spiritual awakening to where I'm at now. And so I had this dream. I had a dream about this person, and this person had like a white light behind their head. This beautiful woman. I'd never seen this person before, and the dream stuck with me. I never remember my dreams. It always just fuzz, it's just a bunch of fuzz. But this dream, I still picture it. I can picture it right now, my third eye. This dream was impactful. I woke up and I was like, who is that person? Like, I've never seen this person in my life. And I wrote it off as just my mind creating an image, and wrote it off and just kept on going through my life. And a couple weeks later, this person appeared in my life at wrestling training. Like I said, I trained people for wrestling with Brian Kidrick's school. And this person was brought to class by a friend of mine, a mutual friend. And when I first saw this person, I was like, it kind of looks like the person from my dream. And I was like, nah, that's bullshit. I don't know what twin flame is at this point. I have no fucking clue. I still don't know if that's what this was, but it had all the fucking hallmarks of it. So me and this person like clicked right away as friends. And like in this first day, this first meeting, our eyes caught each other several times. And it was just this weird, it was surreal. It was like looking in a mirror, but it wasn't me. It's like me in another body. And it's really hard to describe if you haven't experienced this. And a lot of people think that the twin flame journey is crazy, and maybe it is. All I can say is what my experience is and what happened out of it. Because what happened out of it was very, very significant. So, I click with this person immediately and become friends. Got close, like, as friends, because we both kind of shared our own experiences in relationships. I've had a terrible track run. I haven't been the best person, the best partner, and I had a lot of unhealed trauma and wounds and patterns in relationships that had resulted in me being 39 and single, and she had had some tough relationship experiences. So it kind of was communicated that she was not looking for it, and I really wasn't either at that point. I had kind of written off finding a partner until I could really find some stable ground for myself. Like I said, I've been a feather in the wind my whole life. And so things were going well as friends. Like, she did a lot for me that I'm very grateful for. She got me into a meditation group, and I'd never really been able to meditate because my mind is like constantly moving, soaking things up. It's like this sponge that's just always seeking information, and it's one of the things that's kept me on a very solo type journey. I'm also got a twin brother, so I don't need a lot of friends. I've got a brother that's always there for me, and so I've never needed big friend groups, and I've always kind of been type of loner, black sheep of my family. And so we're getting along very well as friends, and got in this meditation group, and it really helped kind of break that glass ceiling of meditation, I was able to finally start doing it. And if you guys are like me and you can't shut your mind up, look at the Deepak Chopra 21-day meditation. It's on YouTube. Anyone can do it. And it really helped me to get through from where I couldn't meditate to now a year later. And I would say I'm an expert at meditation. Like, I can click in and out of meditation very quickly, and I go very deep, as you will come to find. And it was really a very positive friendship in my life. And I started getting these feelings, and the more I spent time with this person, the more I realized that she was the person from my dream. And I just had this, like I said, I'm 39 years old. I've been with a lot of people. I never felt anything like this. It was very unique. It's the only time this has ever happened to me, definitely. And so the feelings just started growing and growing and growing, and closer we got, the more I wanted more out of it. The more I was like, I gotta express my feelings. It's like, I can't do this forever, because it was overwhelming. This, when you see yourself in another body, or at least think you do, it becomes consuming. And so it was very emotionally draining to hide these feelings. And it kind of came to a head in a very embarrassing and regretful way. I just kind of spilled the beans one day when I got frustrated with her. It was awful. Like, I can't really describe. Like, it was like a dam broke, and just this water, I couldn't stop. I would describe it as like some kind of spell. It was either like a spell was broken, or a spell was some kind of magical, fucking horrible release of energy. It was bad, and it blew up our friendship. It was very regrettable. And she obviously didn't reciprocate, and would definitely argue about my assessment of the twin flame journey, because she's always insisted that she didn't feel anything, which is, it is what it is. It's fine. But this is my story, and this is my podcast, so I'm sharing my experience, because it's really the only way I can explain this, because it lines up very closely to what happens in a twin flame journey. It's like you meet your twin flame, and you're not ready, and you have to heal, and you have to go through the Kundalini awakening, which is if you guys are familiar with Kundalini, it's the chakra system. We have 7 chakras in our body, energy centers, and this is detailed extensively in mystic traditions and spiritual traditions, and is also alluded to in the Bible. There's a lot of secret coded things within the Bible that the church doesn't really acknowledge, but are there and are real. And so this event just destroyed me. The best way I can explain a true spiritual awakening is, it's like you have your heart, your mind, and your soul. If they were 3 eggs, and you cracked those 3 eggs, and you put them down and took a beater and just scrambled them all together. It was the most discombobulating and terrifying thing that I've ever experienced. It was like I died. It was like a piece of me died. And if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, I've been kind of documenting this through content, and a lot of people are probably who follow me on these platforms are probably like, what the hell's going on with this guy? This guy's crazy. Because in a lot of ways, it does make you crazy. And I started posting about a year ago on Instagram just spiritual videos and different things. And I did this series of 7 videos that you can still see on my Instagram called The Awakening, where I thought I was at the end of my spiritual awakening, and I was doing these 7 videos to help other people. But looking back now, I realized I was just beginning a stage of my awakening, and those videos were messages to me from my higher self. And that's what a lot of my social media has been over the past year. If you guys are wondering, if you follow me, if you're a friend of mine and close to me and you knew me before all this shit, you've probably been watching my social media like, what's this crazy fucker gonna do next? Because I really have gone deep into myself, this endless ocean within, and just cleared everything out. It was like this event burned me to ash completely. But what came out of it was this incredible journey that I am now on, where I discovered my authentic self. I discovered who I really am, discovered what I'm supposed to do, discovered all of the things that I offer this world. I discovered self-love. And I believe now that after this past year of going through this process, that I am finally exiting the tunnel, and doing this podcast is part of my purpose. It's one of many things that I intend to do to get my message out. One of the things I started doing was artwork. And it's just part of my healing journey. Art is very healing, and I've never been an artist, never been good at drawing, but I found sacred geometry years ago. And if you guys know what that is, it's basically you use a compass and a ruler and you create a bunch of designs with circles, and basically kind of like this. This is my own interpretation of sacred geometry. I kind of do my own thing with it. You can find a lot of sacred geometry online, but this is what it basically is. Like circles, interlocking circles creates like a mandala. I kind of tell a story with my art that's a little bit deeper than that. But yeah, I literally went from having no artistic talent to making something like that. Or here's my latest little piece here. I hope it's dry. This is Osiris. It's pretty wild looking. This is literally like 8 months ago. I couldn't draw for shit, and now I'm painting with oil paint complex geometric figures with pretty fucking utmost precision. I've gotten pretty fucking good in a very short amount of time at a very difficult skill. And that's kind of what the reason why I want to share my experience is, because it's very rewarding in that it unlocks you. It unlocks your highest potential. Like the Kundalini awakening is the purpose of our existence. It is the true path of Christ. It is what all these mystic traditions are pointing to, in my humble opinion. But all these Illuminati and secret societies, they have these little symbols, like the third eye, the all-seeing eye, and people all think it's evil, and they don't understand what these things are pointing to. But if you look into mysticism, or like the ancient Egyptian mysticism, or even like Gnostic Christianity. The Gnostics were a mystic sect of Christianity that was exterminated by the Catholic Church back in the Middle Ages. They practiced a mystic form of Christianity that involved basically alchemy if you follow me on Instagram, I am the Alchemystic is my handle. And the journey that I have found myself on is the journey of the alchemist, which is the ancient alchemists were said to change lead to gold with ceremony and magic. But what true spiritual alchemy is transmuting energy into love. Love is the fifth element. This alchemist becomes one with the four elements. It becomes the fifth element, becomes love. And it's really about connecting to nature, connecting to creation, connecting to reality on a different level. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, when you pull the veil from your eyes about what religion is and who God is, you will realize that everything is one. It's all consciousness. Energy can never be created or destroyed. It's just continual. And energy is what all of this is. And when you come into your own as an alchemist, you use all energy as a way to transmute into love, which is the God frequency. And I'm going to go much more deep into these things in the episodes to come as I share myself and my journey with my guests. And but I feel like there's been a profound change in myself since this awakening was catalyzed by this event. And the message is like encoded in all my artwork, and a lot of the times I just sit down and channel God, and these images spit out, and I'll look at them, and they're encoded with all these ancient mathematics and all these ancient symbols that really resonate with what I'm talking about the awakening of the third eye, enlightenment, the Christ path. A lot of it's all the same shit. And that's one of the things that's been hidden from us within dogmas and within constructs of society, ideologies. They've hidden this deep truth within us. And basically, the matrix society is designed to keep you in this lower state of being and get you to never break out of it, because the pyramid needs a foundation of people who are basically slaves to hold it up. The power pyramid, the people who are at the top do not want you to know this, which is why it's past knowledge in secret societies. But the truth of the matter is that you have a power within you that is unbelievable. It is the power of God. You are made in the image of God. And the spiritual awakening brings you to this eternal truth. This truth of oneness. That's why Christ said to love your neighbor as yourself. It's because your neighbor is yourself. And a lot of us get bogged down in the minutia of the matrix of everyday life, of the hamster wheel of the 9 to 5. And we never break out and find ourselves. We never get to that authentic version. We never heal. We never awaken the kundalini within us, the 7 chakras. We don't purify ourselves enough. We don't activate the temple, which our body's the temple of God. You are a piece of God that is waiting to wake up, drinking microcosm from a macrocosm cup. You're much more than you can imagine, and I've discovered that about myself. And you see this artwork that's poured out of me behind me, and I've got a bunch of it on my desk here around this computer that confirms to me that I am onto something and that I have elevated my consciousness beyond what it was before. And it is part of my journey now that I'm ready to do Talking to Strangers again. I feel like I'm a very, very good podcast host. I'm very good at holding conversations, as you will come to see. And if you look at those old episodes on Spotify, you'll also see that this concept has legs because all of you have a relevant life. All of you are a piece of God that is just waiting to wake up and realize the gift that's been given to you. And you've been conditioned to ignore this gift. You've been conditioned to live in degradation. And part of my journey is to share with you how I activated my temple, how I became the highest version of myself. And my job is to help you do the same. Because what this awakening has done for me is it's changed everything. It's changed the way I look at the world. I'm literally playing on a different level of the video game at this point. My body is in incredible shape, and I don't really have to work out very much. It's changed my entire body. I am meditating on a level that is, if I described it to you, you wouldn't believe me. And it's important for me to give back and to help awaken more pieces of God as I have been awakened. And that's the journey of talking to strangers. That's what I'm here to do, is I want to inspire you to look at your life and to look at yourself and to realize that your life has meaning and that your life is a beautiful story, as tragic as it can be. It is a beautiful ride. And the purpose of this journey is to return home to the one consciousness that emanates from within. So I hope you guys come along on the journey with me, or if at the very least you think I'm crazy, I'll give you a lot of fun stuff to laugh at. And I hope you join me as we move forward with guests and I get to tell you more about my spiritual journey. I love you.